Hello, welcome to the next episode of Meanwhile in the Falklands. You will have noticed that it sounds completely different. That's because we're in the car.
We are in the car. I'm going to be driving the car, so let's hope we don't suddenly crash the car.
No, we won't. So we're currently sitting in the car park at FITV Towers, but we are then going to do what is a Falklands pastime, which is spinning.
Yeah.
And it's so, for those of you who don't know, spinning could either be on a stationary bike, or it could be with wool, or it could just be aimlessly wandering around town in a car.
And I've not done any of those yet.
Have you?
So, no,
This is your first spinning.
Yeah, so I'm very excited for this.
Right, let's get going then.
Right. Should we smile on the wave?
So we're now just about to turn on the bypass. We've had our first major issue. We took the corner far too wide. But anyway, we're all okay and nothing happened. So we're coming along the bypass now. Completely different day from yesterday because it was just blinking sunshine all day yesterday.
Yeah, it was very sunny yesterday. Today seems a bit more miserable. But it's not as windy today, I don't think.
No, that was the thing. Yeah, there was a big deal with yesterday with the wind. So what was your first recollections of coming into Stanley?
It was weird because the air bridge landed and it was pitch black and I went straight into quarantine. So coming along...
Oh yes, of course.
And the guy who was driving the bus, Hannah had told him to make sure I knew where I was getting off, and he took that as, I'm going to give you a personal tour. So it's really interesting as we were driving along the MPA road. He was telling me all this historical stuff, all about the Falklands and Stanley, and trying to point things out, but I couldn't see anything because it was pitch black. And I was sat in the bus like terrified, like where have I just come? And then I got into quarantine and obviously looked out the hotel window for 2 weeks, and then when I was finally released and picked up, we were driving along and everyone was saying, oh yeah, this is this thing and this is this thing. I was like, oh my god, it's so weird. It looks so much different in the daylight.
Of course, yeah. Yeah, well, the big thing about the Falklands these days, of course, there's no mines anymore.
No.
Anywhere. They've all been cleared by the team last November, I think. It was November.
Yeah, it was November the last event, but I was quite fortunate because I just arrived just as the final demining was happening. So for me, going on York Bay, it was, well, it's only been 2 months that I've not been allowed on this beach, but for a load of islanders here, it's they've spent their whole lives not being allowed on the beaches and areas of the Falklands, which I think is quite amazing.
Yeah.
And to now finally be allowed on there, it's really special.
So we're just going down Philomel Hill now. Well, it's actually called Philomel Street. That's a pub quiz question for you. We're just going past the Victory Bar. They do a great steak on steak night, which is a Wednesday. Have you been there?
I have been there. Yeah. I have enjoyed many a steak at steak night.
It's very popular. We're just going around the corner of the Jetty Centre. Actually, I ought to be taking photographs as we go along, so I'll do that in a bit. We're just going to wave at somebody who is currently in quarantine, which is Steve, who's our one of the directors of FITV, so we're going to go and wave at him in quarantine. So we're just going along the front road now, so just passing
all the speed bumps.
All the speed bumps.
You might be able to hear that.
Over at Christchurch Cathedral. It's such a shame because this time of year, of course, we would normally be probably full to the brim with tourists everywhere. So you've never experienced that either?
No, I've not. And this is the thing as well, when I got here, everyone was saying, oh yes, the tourists, they turn up and they're all over the road and you can't get past, and I was like, there's no one here.
It is, it's absolutely amazing.
So I can't, because what is it, doesn't it sort of triple the population of Stanley or something?
Certainly if we get some big cruise ships in all at once, it triples the population.
I just can't picture that many people in the Falklands.
Okay, so we've made our little stop and had a wave at at Steve in quarantine. We've been here quite a bit this week, haven't we, because of the Lufthansa flight?
Yes, so Lufthansa did their longest flight ever. They came from Hamburg to the Falklands non-stop, so it's
15 hours 36 minutes.
Yes.
Yeah.
And so it was to get a load of scientists out on the polar stern. They were doing their crew change. And then they had the air crew quarantining at the Malvina. And then they all sort of left again, and we went to film them getting some little gifts.
We're now driving along the front road here, in front of the school, which we were at rehearsal last night, weren't we?
We
for the
were
drag show.
at a rehearsal. That was terrifying. Actually, my parents, if you're listening to this, I've not told you about this yet. So, surprise! I'm going to be in the drag show.
Do you know what? When I told my parents that I did this performance as a guy, my mother very seriously and in a quite quiet voice said to me, "But you don't want to be a man, do you, Paula?" I went, "No, it's just a performance, Mother. It's just a performance." So we're just going past the 1914 memorial. God, do you know what? There is more history here than you can shake a stick at, really, isn't there?
God, yeah.
Do you just want to pause here a sec? So we're just about to come up on a shipwreck called the Jellum. So we've just taken a little stop here because there is the most amazing garden, and the owners just said, "Come in and have a look at these roses," which are absolutely... Oh, God, there's peonies there. I'm going to take some pictures because when you come to the Falklands and you think, gosh, can we do with all this soil? And it's very windy. Here is a garden that proves that you can do it, and it just looks absolutely fantastic. And I will take a little snap and put it on the podcast for you to look at. So there was a little detour there into somebody's garden because they were waiting for their friend and thought we were them, and there was a whole mixed up who's that. But anyway, I had a quick tour around their garden, which was absolutely gorgeous. And now we're in front of the wreck, which is of the Jellum. Which I have to say, Katharyn, when we first came here, it was absolutely looked like a proper ship.
Oh, did it?
Yeah.
Yeah, you can't really tell it was a ship anymore. I mean, just about the birds like sitting on it, but that's all it's good for at the moment, I think.
There's loads of shipwrecks around the Falklands. It's all to do with as they were coming around Cape Horn or something, and then they would be flung onto the Falklands, and it was a perfect resting place. I've always wondered, actually, whether there's just buried treasure everywhere.
I really want to go and find out. Honestly, if I could swim, I'd be straight out there, scuba diving, trying to find the treasure. Richard
Cockle, who's along here, he said probably the best time to go and do it is when the tide's out, because to the Jellum, apparently there was a causeway at one stage.
Oh, okay, so...
to walk out onto it, and if anyone's dropped anything...
it would be there.
That's when it would be.
Well, Richard's done some lovely paintings of the Jellum, hasn't he? No, absolutely gorgeous.
He does do a good... does paint a good shipwreck.
Yeah.
So we're driving a little bit further on now. We're just passing Richard Cockwell's house.
Yes, so just in there.
Painting with him on Saturday morning.
Paula just pointed at the house for anybody who cannot see what's happening in the car.
For the benefit of the tape.
Just for the benefit of the listener. That was Richard's house we just pointed at.
So we're going along Ross Road west towards the Two Sisters. So if any veterans are listening to this, obviously these will be the mountains that are right in front of us are particularly important. But on our right hand side there's two bits of wood sticking out, which is the remains of a ship.
Is that another shipwreck?
That's another shipwreck. I think it's the Capricorn.
Okay. Yeah, that one's less seating for birds, isn't it? It's only two little sticky up.
Yeah.
That's about my knowledge of shipwrecks. I said to Paul that all I know about shipwrecks is that they're ships and they got wrecked.
Well, several years ago we had the opportunity to go on a launch that went up and down the harbour here, and we managed to get the Jellum from the other side, and it's just got a whole community of cormorants on it.
Oh, yeah. That's nice. I like seeing the birds on them. But what's quite funny is obviously the Lady Elizabeth at the other end.
Oh, well done.
Well done. I said it properly. Yeah. When the tide's out, you can walk right up to it. And I've been waiting for the tide to be out, so I've not been able to do it yet.
Oh, we'll have a look at that. I can't remember if it's a neap tide or spring tide. It's the very low, very, very low tide. And then you can go right out to it.
Do a Nemo and touch the butt.
Touch the butt.
Yeah.
We did that one Christmas Eve actually. Somebody who was here said, look, it's the lowest tide for a long time on Christmas Eve. Let's all dress up in Christmas stuff and go down to the Lady Elizabeth at 1 o'clock, which we did. Steve went dressed as Father Christmas actually. So we've now gone beyond where we normally go. We've gone beyond the beaver hangar, and we're now along Ross Road West, heading towards the golf course. So there is a road.
Is that Bennett's paddock there?
I've no idea. We need Ollie. That's why we need Ollie in the car.
Well, why is he not here?
Because he came and did something on Bennett's paddock. I don't know, but that's the road that's joining up with Sapper Hill.
Oh, okay. Oh, that'll be quite good to have a link between them.
Yeah. So this is the golf course. Any of you keen golfers out there? Yes, we do have a golf course. It's got a geese on it.
Wow.
Look. Yeah. Apparently, because of the wind, somebody was telling me that you can't actually get to... Is it called scratch when they're like zero?
The only golf I've ever played is crazy golf, and I'm not very
That's completely different. I think that's the... Is that the range or something?
I think,
yeah,
it's
the numbers?
a driving range, is it? I do know someone here was telling me about golf, that they played golf here and they were so used to putting in the wind factor, they'd always hit the ball and manage to get it straight, factoring the wind, and they went somewhere else and it wasn't windy, and then every time they hit the ball it went off at an angle because they couldn't hit it straight because they kept thinking the wind was going to take it.
Yeah, I can see that happening, yeah. So this is a fairly new development of houses here called Mink Park, which have got some gorgeous views. I think just, I think enough outside the big smoke of Stanley to come back.
Yeah, get out of the big city.
Yeah. So now this is where the tarmac ends. Ready for it?
Yeah.
There we go. And this is what most of the roads are like in the Falklands.
Yes. I thought the roads at home were bad with potholes, and I was wrong. I arrived in the Falklands and all of my opinions of roads in the UK have changed drastically.
Yeah. It's so smooth.
Yeah, if you start talking, that voice just goes.
So we're coming to the end here. This is now Moody Brook. There used to be a king penguin who used to regularly come here to molt each year. Yeah, sit on the edge.
I'll just turn around.
Yeah. So this is towards the end of, sort of Ross Road East now, and sort of going in towards the Murrell, and just the mountains here, hills, just look fantastic. So we'll take a few snaps of those as well. So we've just turned at the end because we're going to go back into Stanley again. We came here the other night actually. Absolutely gorgeous.
It is lovely down here, isn't it?
You can just get away so quickly.
Yeah. That's what I quite like, is obviously because there's not many people here. If you just want to be away from people, it's so easy just to drive, 5 minutes down the road and you're just out in the middle of nowhere. I quite like it going to the beach quite a lot.
Yes, yeah, we are very, very lucky. Although there was some, I think this came out while I was away, that there's some quicksand.
Yes, on York Bay. Me and Hannah actually discovered it one day. When York Bay just reopened, we went on our lunch break for a quick walk through the sand dunes. And Hannah fell in some quicksand. And luckily, I was just walking along and talking to her, and it was really windy. And we were both sort of saying, why are we doing this? This is such a difficult walk. We're never coming back to York Bay. And all of a sudden, Hannah disappeared. And so I looked to my side, and she was just fallen on the floor. So I pulled her out, and it was fine. We both got out. But she was obviously then covered in sand and mud.
So it wasn't like it is in the cartoons then?
No, well, I don't know. She just went and just pulled her out quickly before she sort of struggled and got stuck, which is quite fortunate. I think it's quick thinking. But it's interesting because when I was little, there was a lot in cartoons and kids' programs about quicksand. And I remember a Fireman Sam episode, and they got stuck in quicksand in the fog, and it was really scary. And I always worried as a kid that quicksand was going to play a massive part of my life, and then it didn't. And so I was a bit disappointed. I've been lied to my entire childhood. And then I got here, and now it's like, oh wait, actually, I do have to be worried about quicksand. So yeah.
I think it happens. Ollie went with Kyle, I think, down to the Lady Elizabeth to do some filming, and he put his foot down and went straight into some sinking mud straight away up to his knee, and Kyle had to help him get out of that.
Yeah,
so
I think it's just difficult. Paying attention to where you're walking, looking out for the different coloured sand. But yeah, no, it's quite weird because you're just sort of walking along, and then all of a sudden if you disappear, it's like, oh wait, no, and like the panic of let me get out quick. But yeah.
So anyone who comes into Stanley now will really notice a huge difference, after this pandemic break sort of thing. Because it's just changed so much. It's changed a lot in the 10 years I've been
here.
Has it? Yeah.
What's the biggest difference you'd say that you've noticed?
No, I don't know what the biggest difference is. I'd probably say there's a lot of building work. There's a lot of shops that have moved to various different places. And I remember when I first was here, I was really getting quite uptight about the fact that a lot of shops don't open. They've got very specific trading hours. And that was annoying that they weren't open all the time. And I remember Hazel had to do a cooking thing, and I hadn't got all her at school and I hadn't got all the ingredients she needed. I was like, oh, that's fine, I can go to the shop before she goes to school in the morning. Of course, the shops don't open until 9, so I couldn't get anything. I had to go and get it and then take it back into the school. So that but then yeah, it's only a little thing, and it's actually really quite nice, and I like the relaxed way it all is.
It is very relaxed here, but I think it was weird getting used to the fact that shops are sort of only open during working hours.
Yeah.
So if I wanted to go somewhere, I'd have to sort of factor it into my lunch break, or oh wait, hold on, I need to go there before it shuts, and sort of planning to go, oh, I'll just nip to the shops in the evening. You can't do that here, can you? But
no, you can't. Well, some shops are open. I mean, the supermarkets are open till, I think Westall opens till 8:30, and
but
Kelp is open until 9. But yeah, there's a variety of shops. So we're just sitting outside what used to be the pink gallery, because it is a pink house.
Oh, is this the pink gallery?
Yeah, but it doesn't have its notification on, so I wonder whether she's moved. But it's Vicky Chait, who's a lovely artist. She paints in acrylics. But further along, we're on Fitzroy Road at the moment. But further along, I think just here past this house here, it used to be the chip shop.
Oh, there was a chip shop here.
There was a chip shop here, but they closed quite some time ago. And down here as well, there was a bakery that used to be open at 5 in the morning.
Oh, I've seen the bread shop sign. Is that shut now?
Yeah, that closed when we had, back in 2015, I think, because we did a piece on it closing.
Oh, I see. Well, just round the corner is Marinella's, who does the Italian food. Food is gorgeous.
Absolutely. Have you tried the gnocchi?
No, I've not yet. I keep wanting to try the gnocchi,
It's
but she
wonderful.
never has it.
If you ever get the chance to go on her pasta course, go on it.
Yeah.
She does a 5-week pasta course where you learn how to make pasta from scratch, and gnocchi as well. And it's brilliant. Yeah. It's the best money I've ever spent.
That's one thing I miss here, is I've not been able to find gnocchi in the shop.
Okay, a little interruption there because we've had a message from Tom to say, can you pick me up from college, because he's just finished his session there in the morning. So we're just going to go up to Falklands College, which now, talking about change, that has changed dramatically.
Oh, has it?
Dramatically over the years. When we first came here, I would have said, I don't know how many courses it did, but not very many. And now it does loads of different courses. A lot of them are online, using online resources and things like that, and they've got links with various colleges in the UK. But yeah, you can do A-levels with them now, and things like that. So they've got quite a few things going on there. So we're coming to the end of Fitzroy Road here, and we're going to turn. Well, I don't know. You for the benefit of the tape, Catherine's just gone. Which way do I turn?
I'm trying to work out which is the quickest way to the college. If I go down, should I go up the bypass? Can I get onto the bypass from this road? I'll go along.
No, you can't, because this is Villiers.
I'm getting used to the roads around here.
See, it took me 10 years I've been here, and I've just had to pause for ages before going, which road are we on? We're on Villiers. No, it doesn't go up to the bypass. So we're just turning past we're turning now into John Street and going past the primary school, which is on our right hand side.
What I find the hardest thing about driving around here is how tight and narrow all the roads are, and every corner is a 90-degree angle, but the cars are all 4x4s.
Yeah.
It's like, how am I meant to make the turn?
They are dreadful. So we're just passing a shop now called Southern Imports. They're an interesting shop to go to, actually. They've got some good stuff there.
Well, they do have some interesting things. I bought a yogurt maker in Southern Imports for only about £12.
Excellent.
It's the cheapest. I've not really made much yogurt.
Now, do you notice that here as well, that you, like in the UK, you go to one of the bigger supermarkets and you buy, say, a tin of beans, and in another supermarket it'll be the same price, or if there's a difference, it'll only be pennies. Here, there's quite a lot of difference. In prices. So you bought that yogurt maker for?
I think it was about £12. I bought
£12. Now I've seen that at £21, and I've seen it at £24. So huge differences. It does pay to have a little shop around.
I've figured out that Stanley Services shop is the cheapest place to get my Ritos.
Okay.
Other places it's quite expensive. I used to think it was a lot when I had to pay £2.50 for a box of Ritos, and now when I'm paying £5.30 or whatever it is for a box of Ritos, that's a lot of money. But Stanley Services, I'm sure it's under £5. So I go there for my weekend.
So anyone in the UK who's listening to this going, they're paying over £5 for a box of cereal. Yes,
Make
yes,
the most
we
of
are.
the cheap prices in the UK.
Yes, we are.
I remember I got back one day when I first got here. I went to the shop, I'd bought 4 items and it was over £10, and I was just stood with it on the counter and I was looking at it going, how is it this much money?
So we've just come up Reservoir Road and we're now turning in towards the Falklands College, which was newly built. It's absolutely gorgeous and has got it's got the library here now.
Still
as well.
need to go to the library.
A lot of controversy about the library when it was moved up here, but it is beautiful and very well run. Okay, so we're making our way now back to FITV Tower, so we're just going along this, what is still Reservoir Road?
I think it is Reservoir Road, yeah.
Yeah. Going up to, I thought there is a reservoir here, I don't know.
No, I have no idea. If it's Reservoir.
Well, when we were in that lady's garden, and I was asking her about her flowers, and she said, oh, these are hebes. And I went, is that why we've got a hebe street? Because they grow really well down here. Same with lupins. Lupins grow like wildfire.
Oh, do they?
Yeah. Yeah, really good. So we're coming past the Sapper Hill development, which is on our right there. That'll be a big difference if you haven't been to the Falklands for some years. That will be a massive difference for you, along with the tarmacking of the MPA road, of course. I completely forgot about that when you asked me that. So we're turning back now left onto the bypass road and going along towards FITV Towers. So I hope you've enjoyed that little trip around Stanley.
Yeah, I enjoyed my first time spinning as well.
Yeah,
because this is the thing. Sometimes I'm sat at home. I think I really fancy going for a drive, but there's nowhere to drive to. I've come back from the beach sometimes and driven down to the end of the bypass and then back round town, and I'm like, yeah, I'll just do it for a drive, and it's lasted less than a song.
Yeah.
Because in the UK, I'm just sort of thinking, oh yeah, we'll go for a drive, me and my brother, and we go for a drive for a few hours, and I'm like, where can I drive to?
Well, the other night we drove to, so when I say we, me and my daughters drove to Gypsy Cove, and it was quite late at night. It was getting on for about 9 o'clock, so it was getting quite dark. We were listening to the soundtrack of Mary Poppins, because that's how we roll.
Obviously.
Singing out loud, and there were 2 cars up there, which was really dodgy.
Were the toilets open?
Yeah, they were.
They were open.
The toilets were open. That's thanks to FITV and Lugate that came out
the
just
biggest
before Christmas,
scandal of 2020.
Yeah, so we went. I was thinking really dodgy. What are these people doing up here? Well, they're probably thinking that about me.
yeah. Why is this other car here?
Anyway, that brings us to the end of Meanwhile in the Falklands for this week. I hope you've enjoyed this spinning episode, and we will speak to you next week.
Yes. Goodbye.
Bye.